The house was found completely silent. No screams, no signs of struggle, and no trace of panic. Yet every member of the family was gone. In the early morning of March 18th, 1897, neighbors approached a small wooden house on the edge of town. Smoke still lingered faintly in the cold air, drifting from a chimney that had clearly been used the night before. The front door was unlocked. Inside, breakfast dishes sat neatly on the table. Bread had been sliced. Cups were half full. A clock on the wall had stopped ticking at exactly 6:17 a.m. But the family who lived there, a father, a mother, and 3 children, had vanished. No blood was found, no overturned furniture, no broken windows. The beds were empty, but not disturbed. Shoes were still placed by the door. Coats still hung on their hooks, as if no one had planned to go outside. And yet, not a single person remained inside the house. At first, authorities believed it was a misunderstanding. Perhaps the family had left early. Perhaps they had gone to stay with relatives. But as the hours passed, something became disturbingly clear. No one had seen them leave.
We need to know what's in there.
I haven't seen anything, sir.
There were no footprints in the soft ground outside, no wagon tracks, no signs that 5 people had walked away together in the dark. What troubled investigators the most was not what they found, but what they didn't. The house showed no sign of fear. Nothing suggested that the family had been forced out. Nothing indicated a sudden emergency. It looked as though they had simply stood up and disappeared. By nightfall, word had spread across the town. Neighbors gathered at a distance, whispering. Some refused to step inside the house. Others claimed the air felt wrong, heavy, unnatural, as if the building itself was holding its breath. By the end of that week, newspapers would describe the case as one of the most inexplicable domestic disappearances of the century. And yet, what the papers failed to mention was that this was not the first strange event connected to that house. Because years earlier, previous occupants had reported hearing footsteps at night, even when no one was awake. Some claimed doors would open on their own. Others said the house never felt empty, even when it clearly was. In 1897, these stories were dismissed as superstition. But after the family vanished, no one laughed anymore. Tonight, we will examine what truly happened inside that house. Using historical records, eyewitness accounts, and forgotten reports that were never fully explained. This is not a legend. This is not folklore. This was a real house, a real family, and a mystery that remains unsolved to this day. The house stood at the far edge of town, where the dirt road narrowed and the trees began to close in. It had been built nearly 40 years earlier, using rough timber and hand-cut beams, long before the town itself had fully formed. By 1897 standards, it was considered isolated. The nearest neighbor lived almost half a mile away. At night, the only sounds came from the wind moving through the trees and the occasional creaking of the house as the temperature dropped. The family who lived there had moved in 6 years earlier. The father was known as a quiet, disciplined man. He worked long hours and rarely spoke about his past. Neighbors described him as polite but distant. He paid his bills on time and avoided unnecessary attention.
His wife was different. She was often seen walking the children into town, speaking warmly to shopkeepers, and attending church regularly. She was described as attentive, careful, and deeply protective of her children. The 3 children were all under the age of 12. They attended school when weather allowed, helped with chores, and were considered well-behaved. Teachers noted nothing unusual, no signs of fear, no troubling behavior, nothing that suggested a family in distress. From the outside, their lives appeared ordinary. But the house itself had a history. Before this family moved in, 2 other families had lived there. Both had left suddenly. One departed in the middle of winter. The other abandoned the property without explanation, leaving furniture behind. At the time, these departures were blamed on hardship, illness, or opportunity elsewhere. In the late 1800s, people moved often. No one asked many questions. Still, some neighbors remembered comments made years earlier. One former occupant claimed the house never stayed quiet. Another said they felt watched in the upper rooms at night. These stories were quietly ignored. The family who vanished never filed complaints. They never requested repairs. They never spoke openly about the house. But there were subtle signs. In the months before the disappearance, the children stopped playing outside after sunset. The wife was seen keeping lamps lit late into the night, even when the house should have been asleep. And on more than one occasion, neighbors reported seeing lights move between rooms, long after the family had supposedly gone to bed. No one confronted them about it. No one thought it mattered. In hindsight, investigators would note that the family had not made plans to leave town. No property was sold. No goodbyes were said. No belongings were packed. Everything they owned was still inside the house, including the things one would never leave behind. The last confirmed sighting of the family occurred on the evening of March 17, 1897. Shortly after sunset, the mother and children were seen returning from town. They carried small parcels, bread, lamp oil, and dried goods. Nothing unusual, no signs of distress. A shopkeeper later recalled that the children were quiet that evening, not frightened, just unusually focused. The father arrived home just before nightfall. A neighbor, passing by on horseback, noticed a lamp already lit in the upper window. This was not uncommon, but what stood out was how early it appeared. Dinner was likely eaten around 7. Investigators would later find plates scraped clean, cups partially drained, a pot still resting on the stove, cold but undisturbed. There was no evidence of an argument, no broken dishes, no raised voices reported. As night deepened, the house grew dark, except for a single lamp upstairs. Sometime after 10, a distant sound was reported. One neighbor claimed to hear movement, slow footsteps, not hurried, not heavy, just deliberate. Another reported a door opening, then closing. No screams followed, no cries for help. By midnight, the house was completely dark. What makes this night so difficult to understand is what did not happen. No neighbors reported panic. No animals reacted. No signs of violence were heard. And yet by morning, the family was gone. The discovery occurred shortly after dawn. A neighbor noticed smoke still drifting from the chimney and found it strange that no one had emerged. When knocking went unanswered, he entered the house. Everything was in place. Beds were unmade,
but not slept in. Clothing for the next day had been laid out. Personal items remained untouched. Most disturbing of all were the footprints. Investigators found a single set leading away from the house. 5 pairs of feet. Walking, not running. The prints stopped abruptly at the edge of the property. No continuation, no return. Search parties combed the surrounding area for days. Dogs lost the scent almost immediately. No bodies were found, no belongings recovered. There was no evidence of foul play. Officially, the case was labeled a disappearance. Unofficially, many refused to speak of it at all.
May God have mercy on us.
Several theories were proposed. Some believed the family left voluntarily, but no motive was ever found. No destination, no preparations. Others suggested an external threat, but there were no signs of force. The footprints remain the most unsettling detail. Why walk calmly into the dark? Why together? Why stop? Some later researchers suggested psychological influence, a shared hallucination, or a state of suggestion triggered by the environment. Others pointed to the house itself, the reports from former occupants, the unexplained sounds, the feeling of being watched. After the disappearance, no one lived there again. Animals refused to enter. People claimed the air inside felt heavier than outside. Over time, the house fell into decay, but the mystery remained intact.
No bodies were ever found. No explanation officially accepted. The house still stands, though no one claims it. What happened that night may never be known. But the evidence suggests one thing. Whatever caused the family to leave did not frighten them. It convinced them. And that may be the most disturbing possibility of all. Some mysteries are loud. This one was silent, and it has never spoken since.